An update from Chris. That's a long post. That's a pretty freaking long post. Okay. Let's see. Take much reading of the official forums or subreddit to realize that a group of Path of Exile players are angry about a number of topics and feel that we haven't given solid answers about how we are going to address these issues. We will explain as many of these topics as we can in the questions and answers that is currently scheduled for later this week. So tomorrow, I guess. However, one thing that the QA doesn't address is how we got here. I wanted to personally post an explanation of what's been going behind the scenes at grinding your games that led to this state. Okay, let's take a look at this. Developer Q&A. We have run several dev QA posts in the past and they have been very successful. We've decided to hold another. We'll answer your questions about POE, game development, and life at GG office. Please post questions in this forum thread. We'll post the answers in the news next week. Yeah, so yeah, right this week. Here are some guidelines for the questions. We prefer not to answer specific questions about how game mechanics work in this Q&A. Please check that no one has previously posted a substantially similar question. We recommend phrasing your questions in a constructive way. Mr. Chris Wilson, why does your game suck? Yours, Redditor. There's probably gonna be those questions. Okay. If you're looking for ideas for non-standard questions, consider questions about day-to-day life at GGG, what it takes to get into the games industry, what games you'll be playing, and so on. We love some variety to show that our questions are the interest many of the different type players. Thanks for all the questions. We will select questions to answer from all the communities. Answers will be posted next week. I'm expecting this to not have anything about the race stuff because this was made last week, so this is probably nothing about that in there. This is just like a synthesis and probably something like that. Okay. Synthesis was more work than we expected. It was developed over the Christmas holiday and its gameplay prototype came in very late. Didn't he say during the Bayclast that they thought about the thing? It just like came into them in like some Christmas party or something like that. Which was basically, well, not too long ago. We didn't have a lot of time to iterate on it before release or to make drastic changes that it potentially needed. I think the potential should be changed to definitely, but yeah. While our improvements after it have helped a lot of many players are enjoying it, we fully acknowledge that this is our best league and it's not up to the quality standards that PoE players should expect from us. It will not be merged into core game in 3.7. Maybe we can do something with it in the future, but we have no current plans. I read this line here as we definitely want to add it to the game, but we can't really, and we're planning to do it, but we won't say it now in this thread because you guys are so pissed about it anyways. So kind of like the bestiary stuff. I'm fully expecting it to come to the game in one way or another. If nothing else, they're gonna add like, I was about to say they're gonna add Delve nodes that can drop synthesized implicits, but I don't think they're gonna be adding new nodes to Delve because that would require working on past league content, which they don't really do much. Yeah. but definitely not too disappointed that it's not gonna go core. The items are the power creep from the items, even though it's not for the majority, is absolutely insane. The mechanic itself, like honestly, I would have been super happy if we had like a just remove the synthesizing and then just leave the actual like mechanic. But yeah. When we reveal 3.7 in 3 weeks, you'll see that its leak has a focus on repeatable fun. And the combat revamp has a lot of focus on improving the fundamentals of Path of Exile's gameplay. Fundamentals? That's some big words. That's some big words. I'm not sure how much I want to read into this, especially because GGG is a perfect example of advertising and selling the players something that they couldn't deliver. But I feel like when they hype us too much, they end up not delivering, and then we have the acts 5 to 10 that came out of Blue Sky, and that was amazing. So I feel like they shouldn't hype us as much as they do. In order to do this, we have had our heads down, focusing on getting 3.7 to be ready as early as we can within its dev cycle. But that's not all we need to work on. There are a large number of critical projects going on at the same time. For a start, our 4.0 mega expansion is taking a huge amount of the company's time. I mean, yeah, makes sense. Hype is good for business, but letting the player base down after hyping us is bad business. So, we see this upgrade as critical because the next generation of action RPGs is coming and we have to be ready. Critical because the next generation of ARPGs is coming and we have to be ready. We are getting into the mobile market, boys. That's it. We got the Xbox, we got the PlayStation, next up we have mobile. Not proactively keeping up with the competitors is how companies die. There's another way to kill a company, and that's trying to two things that you can't keep up with. Like you can't keep up yourself. That's another way to die. That's a pretty cool jab at Blizzard though. we don't see the huge time investment in 4.0 as optional at all. In addition to 4.0, we've also committed to running the Exile convention later this year. You may think that this is a fun optional side project for us, but we see it as critical because we need a stage, literally, to announce 4.0 to the world. As long as you're not announcing a mobile game in that stage to the player base that doesn't play mobile games, you're gonna be fine. Talking to the devs has shown us that conventions are by far the best way to market a new product of this size. Not going to be mobile. If you didn't get it, it's jokes. We're joking here, right? I can help you if you don't get it. And then there is a Korean launch. South Korea is a large market and we feel we are years late to this release there. Due to that, we committed with our publisher to release in Korea alongside 3.7 and we will meet this commitment, but it's yet another project to handle correctly. just take all the projects, you know? Doesn't matter if you can hold them, just get all of them, you know? No. Take them all. Then there's various issues with Path of Exile on console. You don't say. Which feel bad about... Which... Wait, on the console platforms, which feel bad about because we have made promises that we haven't yet fulfilled. After the Xbox launch, all of our console resources went into preparing the PlayStation 4 release. Basically, release on Xbox, leave it there, go for the next. Oof. Which meant we didn't spend enough time supporting the feature requests from the Xbox community. I mean, I'm pretty sure you just didn't come up with the things that you were supposed to, like the chat box and whatnot. Now that the PlayStation 4 version has launched, we need to make headway on console features. Would be nice if just the basics would work nicely. Like the fuck, what it's called? The dynamic resolution doesn't, like, it is on PlayStation, but it doesn't actually work. It's just where it's supposed to go on, nothing happens. And then when you're randomly stashing items, then it goes on and like, wait, what the fuck? It's like, there's honestly the console shit is a bit embarrassing. I mean, it is embarrassing, not just a bit. Oof. There's a long way there for them on that. All of these areas from 3.7 through to the eventual release of 4.0 are going to make massive and lasting fundamental improvements to Path of Exile. We have been making great headway and are incredibly excited to show this work when it's ready. However, this has all come at a cost. While we released many patches during the 3.6 cycle to address community concerns, the significant internal dev focus on the long-term POE has meant that we have chosen not to prioritize things like complete overhand synthesis or creating an entirely new type of 1-month race. I mean, you don't need to make a completely new 1-month race. Kind of just don't make one that sucks. And people are fine. Like you overhype the community, and that's it, pretty much. I think they made a massive mistake by including the word mayhem in the post. Every week there are feedback threads about feedbacks? I don't know if it's feedback anymore. About many different topics. The community generally do a great job of constructively presenting reasons for wanting various changes, and we appreciate that. I would have liked to see his face when he was typing this particular part of this thread. Like, how can I phrase it in a way that I'm kind of, you know, not being honest, but at the same time tell them that you guys suck? Generally. When given this feedback, we have two options. Assemble the team of 7 key people who are needed to solve the issue, discuss it for half a day, and then lock in the solution so that we can at least tell the community what our plan is. Even it's a little while before we get to it. An example of this, we made a large functional and balance changes to Delve based on community feedback. Yeah, I remember that. That was nice. The drawback with doing this is that it derails up to 7 important projects that we're working on in order to solve the problem. We have to be selective about which problems we apply to this approach to. So each key member has a project that they're working on. Is that how we read that? The second option is to read and consider the feedback and specifically decide to deal with it later. This doesn't mean it's going to be done, it just means that we're prioritizing the existing release we're currently working on. An example is the Mapster step in standard situation where we waited a whole league before we solved it. We waited for a whole league. I'm pretty sure this should be not necessarily a year, but it was issue that they knew for a longer time than a league for sure. I guess they just weren't working on it at some point. Yeah. If we had put the time into the solution a league earlier, then this would have been even worse. Simply put, we can't fix every problem every league. There are going to be problems that we don't address quickly. We'll get to them as soon as we. Simply put, we can't fix every problem every league, and every league, due to trying to keep up with your existing problems, you cause more problems, and then we have this endless cycle. Big topic in the gaming industry recently is dev crunch. Some studios make their teams work 14-hour days to pack every patch full of the most fixes and improvements possible. Sometimes when we read our own patch notes, our own patch note threads and community feedback, we feel that we are being asked to do the same. I will not run this company that way. While there's inevitably a bit of optional paid overtime near league releases, the vast majority of Path of Exile dev cycle has a great work-life balance. This is necessary to keep our devs happy and healthy for the long term, but it does mean that some game improvements will take a while to be made. I really feel like he's not being completely honest with that. What if it's 13-hour days? I wonder how the hours at GGG office go. Like, do people have generic 9 to 5, or can they like choose their own hours? Because like you can see it from Bex sometimes that she's been up for a lot. I think he's referring to the Forbes article where Fortnite devs have 15-hour days. I mean, yeah, probably. But the thing is, to me, this kind of feels like, hey guys, feel bad for us because we don't have the hours, and I'm running the company in a way so that we can't have the hours because I want to make my guys, my devs, you know, have a life. I don't know. I'm not completely buying this personally. There's a couple options. You can expand the dev team. You could potentially maybe lower the goals you're trying to reach. But like, it's not like it's our fault that you're running out of time. I feel like the management on the leagues and expansions and whatnot on them is just not done well if they have like this kind of issue. You don't necessarily speed up software development by throwing more bodies around on it. Yeah, of course not. But like, to me, like this is starting to seem like they have this issue as fucking all the time. Like this is not like some new thing. They just like keep piling problems on top of old problems and whatnot. Maybe it's time to take the foot off the gas pedal for a tiny bit. I don't know. We try as hard as we can to communicate with our community about our dev priorities. We post daily news. Let's be honest, your daily news are not about dev priorities most of the time. And aim for some kind of substantial dev update every week. I feel like they're doing somewhat decent with this though. Bex and her team are all over the community posts, passing information back to devs and seeking answers to questions. However, as I explained earlier, in order to be able to share our firm plans about topics, we have to assemble the right devs, derail their current work, and make some time-consuming decisions. Yeah, Bex and the co-o can't just go throw around answering all the questions because, well, first of all, they probably don't know, and well, obviously it's a company, so due to the sheer amount of stuff we've been working on, certain topics have not been addressed to the satisfaction of the community. I am glad you have noticed it here. I'm very sorry about this. One of our key values is our relationship with our community. We feel that our internal emphasis on longer-term improvements to POE has caused some damage to that relationship. In the short term, we make sure that we find a good balance between addressing immediate concerns and making the long-term improvements the game needs. Later this week, we'll post our first set of answers to the questions from the QA. I will make sure that it includes all the hot topics such as synthesis. I mean, I'm pretty sure that's pretty much over with the synthesis now, from this post alone. Trade. I mean, what you can do is you'll just literally forward all the trade question back to the dev manifesto from the past where they explained their views on trade, unless it has changed. Console improvements, raises, etc. We can't wait to announce 3.7 in 3 weeks. Names on the list. This post screams, feel bad for us, we're trying the best we can, but we have too much to do. That's basically, if I were to make it into a sentence, it would be that. I don't know, this just kind of shows that the management isn't done exactly well. Let's read some comments. Okay, it's Chris post where he's you know, saying that they have fucked up and they're sorry, so it's gonna be 99% praise. This seems to be like a thing now, that they do something, doesn't quite go well, then the community gets what it gets. That, you know, things happen, people are mad, etc., and then we get something like this. This isn't the first time Chris has made a post like that, and I'm pretty sure it won't be last. They're just the point. Like, I guess I'm at the point now where I don't really feel sorry for them anymore. Like they are not like a small indie company anymore. Maybe it's the growing pains. I feel like that maybe the game is growing too fast and they are trying to ride the wave. And well, it like synthesis happens. They're a small indie company still, but with a big paycheck from China. And like over 150 or something people are in the company. It's not a small company anymore. Some studios make their teams work 14 hours a day to pack every patch full of the most fixes and improvements possible and run this company that way. I really hope it actually is this way, and this is not just words. Then again, if this like this, it would also explain why shit like synthesis happens. And yeah. I don't know. It just feels like the management isn't done well now. And obviously, we really don't know. We literally just have Chris's word. Chris has lied to us in the past, so I can't take everything at face value anymore. I really want to, but I can't. Did you watch the GGG presentation? I did. Wouldn't 3 leaks a year be fine too? The issue with that is that if they had a third league, if they removed 1 league, they wouldn't spend the time making sure that the leagues are better. They would like they wouldn't I guess test them more. They would just make them bigger instead of keeping the size the leagues are now. They would just scale the size of the league because they have more time. I think that wouldn't do anything. Less leagues means less income. I mean, if you want to go that way, you could say that they should do a league every 2 months. Make smaller leagues, but make it every 2 months instead. Obviously, there's a balance somewhere, but I feel like they should just I feel like they try hard the leagues too much, and then we end up getting these. He was one that said that having stuff on the pipeline is wrong, and they aren't doing that anymore. And now he comes with this apology with the message, we're working on some pipeline stuff. Yeah. It's all about that too. Is that he even said in that GDC talk, he mentioned how they have a lot of like content that they like already made that they can just take and then make it into a league or whatever, right? Yet now he mentions that the whole synthesis idea came very late. Well, why did you have to rush with it then instead of using one of the already existing things that you had? So just like it's just starting to feel like, I mean, he is the PR guy. Like this is a PR post. They have art assets may not leak prototypes and shit. I mean, yeah, obviously they don't have pre-made leaks, of course not. Obviously, I'm not saying that. But like, what does it tell about their them preparing if a leak that started like 2 months ago, so they had like 3 months to work, less than 3 months to work on. It's just that they cannot take better. I don't know. I've seen way too many threads slash posts that are basically the same shit with different topics inside it, or in the same way that I'm really glad that they do make these when there's a need for it, but needing to make this shouldn't be a thing. Like, they shouldn't have to need to make these to begin with. It's also a problem that fixing spells was a priority for this patch, and other than the Gale spells and the dot spells, it's been a failure. None of the other spells are really being used this league. I mean, they did come up with two like really nice really nice support gems, but then a lot of the things were just like a bit of extra damage there, a bit more cast speed there, and yada yada yada. I finally realized if the name is not on the list, the league will fail. Oh yeah, its name's on the list. I mean, I am where they mentioned it, repeatable fun. So I really hope that this means the biggest thing I want from the next league is that the league content doesn't force us to stop mapping. Kind of, you remember like in Breach where you gathered these splinters and then you just like, okay, I got some stones and I can go do the stones. While now you got the memories, you have to go to them. Otherwise you kind of feel bad that you're not using the mechanic. Like, you feel like you're missing out. Even though you might not necessarily be missing out, it just feels bad. Delve forced us to stop mapping, but it's cool. The thing with Delve is though that, like, right now Delve is nice when it comes to the balance of how much you map into. Like, you don't feel like you just like get full immediately and you're like, fuck, now I need to like stop mapping. I hope they force us to run breach so everyone has splinters. Yeah, like temple. Like, imagine, just think about it. When you complete your incursions and you get the temple, imagine if the temple was an item that you can later like run later. Imagine if we could even maybe sell that item. Maybe it would make a map, but the issue with that, then it would have the way to show what the temple item has, like the rooms on it and etc etc. But just like so you could store them would be so nice. Yeah, like seal it. Which that's probably can't really do that with safe houses, really, but for the temple, I think that's totally fine. Okay, let's take a look at this. Actually, you know what we need to check? We need to check the controversial. Where are you? Here. I wanna see this shit. This is where the real shit is. I don't just wanna see the fanboys. Who asked you to overwork your employees? You make it sound like we are asking for that and getting defensive. Holy shit, he actually did say that. He actually did say that. Well, not in the exact words, but he mentioned about the patch note somewhere here.
Oh, here. A big topic in the gaming service is a dev crunch. Some studios make their yeah. Sometimes when we read our own patch notes, threads, and community feedback, we feel that we are being asked to do the same. I don't think. I mean, you can feel like that, but I don't. What I would add, what I want, is that you'd actually document the changes you do. You don't necessarily need to make millions and gazillion billion changes. Just document the changes that you actually do. Because I feel like last like 3 or 4 patches, like big patch notes, like leaks, the big, like not necessarily the biggest changes, but a lot of big changes went like completely, like it didn't even exist. Remember the delve darkness farming? Like you can't farm XP anymore in the darkness by throwing players. There was no documentation about that, and that is insane. Like that is a major change. We just want good design and tested content. Amen on this one. If you can do that with your current team on this timeline, then you're poorly managing them. Either cut back on the content schedule or get more help. Are you really fishing for sympathy here? You want me to tell my customers that the quality of my products are declining because I am putting an extension on my store. That's an interestingly accurate comparison to what he said. That's actually it. They messaged Rice about it. No, Rice messaged Chris, and Chris said, "I'll look into it," and that was it. That was the flare farming shit. But that's actually like, you guys, my products for the unforeseeable future are gonna be a lot worse because I wanna get more money and go into China instead. Now the customers are complaining, and I say, sounds like you want me to overwork my existing staff to give you the product you want. No, it's not their fault. I'm expanding. It's my fault for not managing the project, so the customers don't suffer and the quality of my product doesn't either. POE community overblows nearly every issue there is with the game. I mean, it's not necessarily just the POE community's fault. You have to also consider how GGG sells their product for us. Like they overhype it like crazy, and the fact that they have delivered in the past. I mean, it's interesting because the good thing, I think it's a good thing that the community riles up, because that just shows that they have been so good in the past that it has made us expect so much more from them. Like POE is still hands down the best ARPG. The company is still most likely the best company out there. Some can argue that Warframe's guys are better, but like the community cares about the game so much, and we are used to. He even says that we're used to like just getting we're used to them making a far better job. I think Chris's post is really bad and a very bad idea by him. It basically just I feel like it just shows that they're managing this whole stuff so badly. Your job is to manage them and your expectations. This is like, they are really bad. They are extremely bad on managing our expectations, in my opinion. I actually think they do a really bad job at that nowadays. Then again, hype is good for advertisement. I've been talking for at least a year that the 3-month cycle is awful and it really shows. Yeah, but you know what's interesting? If it was a 4-month cycle instead of using extra time to making sure the quality of the league is better, I'm pretty sure that they would just add more to the league, and the problems would still persist. It's not about the time they have at their hands. It's about how they use the time they do have. I feel like the 3-month cycle is fine if they scale down what they're doing with it. I think just the management of their time is bad. With a 4-month cycle, there would also only be 3 instead of 4 revenue spikes. But you can also argue that then they should do 6 leagues a year. Obviously, that's like trying to get the right month, but I feel like I don't know. I feel like whatever the time they spend, the quality is probably still the same. I feel like the quality is still the same regardless. We can take fever related, but I am getting Tencent. I am betting Tencent would accept the downside in players are MTX investment of longer leagues. The past couple releases have been very poor and been wondering if your decision making process has been influenced by your new investors. That could be a thing. Selling more taps, something Synthesis was no doubt designed for. Oh god, oh yeah. that hits very close to home. For flooding us with MTX overriding your desire to put out quality content, you need to get priorities straight because your community is suffering for it. You get a golden opportunity here with people migrating from D3 and we're flush with new players and you need to step up, not do this. This is actually like, I feel like this is a well thought out and written post that isn't even like, sure, he's not praising Chris here, therefore it's in the controversial. I love the fact that the only people in this thread and talking any goddamn sense are all sorry by controversial. You speak, yeah. The counter circle jerk has started with post. I think I mentioned it earlier that this is like we get this like, you know, they do things go bad, we get mad, and then threads like these pop up, or like dev posts. Simply put, we can't fix every problem every league. There are gonna be problems that we don't address quickly. Okay. Milestone. Honestly, don't think this is okay, and obviously dev crunch isn't okay either. Maybe you need to downside leaks or otherwise free up those key people. Anyways, it seems like I'll take a break from POE longer than. I mean, you don't necessarily have to. Don't let the door hit you. I think it highlights the critical flaw GG has picked up. They are no longer trying to release well-designed leak from the start. They're releasing a weird message, hoping to short fix them later. How many leaks? Like, how many of the recent leaks have been? Wait. Yeah, how many of the recent leaks have been them releasing the league and then spending 2 to 3 weeks to a month even fixing it? Like, at least like the last 3. How the fuck do you do a spellcaster rebounds and make no old skill fun? Honestly, it depends. Like, Ice Spear is amazing now. I feel like Ice Spear was like, then they added 2 really nice support gems, but most of the changes were just damage. Damage or gas speed, that's it. Yeah, rip Fame Blast. I mean, you don't start your posts like that. Just there's no reason to do that. Just by start doing that, this already gets. Just don't. Just like completely ignore this. You don't need to do. You don't need to put it. Just say whatever you have to say. Just you don't. Anybody who still shouts and screams GG is as worse in communication now as AA devs as they can't admit their get fucking corrupt. I mean, they are better than triple AA devs, sure, but that isn't a bar GGG should ever needed to be compared to. Getting even compared to AAA devs is bad. Like, and while communication, yeah, I don't know. I don't. Look at this Exile on ticket announcement. Is that good communication? I feel like every single Christmas league is gonna be shit because of how they're doing their stuff. Respect. This is why I get supporter packs every league. You are contributing to the problem, sir. This is literally contributing to the problem. If you get packs every single league, that just reaffirms that they need to keep doing this exact form, like 3-month leagues. When people do this, they are. I feel like this is contributing to the problem. Because of people giving them money every 3 months, when a new league comes, it gives them the spike, which makes them believe that it's only because. This is a legendary fuck you to Xbox players. How can this thread exist? PvP and text chat. Oof. Hello. The beginning implementation of texts has begun internally. I expect to have more info in the coming weeks after the release of 3.3. Our current focus is Wait, what is this? Oh my god. Dude, that's a year ago. Oh my goodness. Oh shit, dude. By the way, guys, GGG getting the game on console is not doing anything for the PC. I mean, it's still only doing good. It's only doing good. All the performance is from the Xbox release. Stop the 14-hour crunch blame shifting bullshit. You ran out of time for it because you pushed over on an overly aggressive release schedule. 3 months dev cycle minus 1 month Christmas break means 2 month actual dev time, and that's just never going to be enough. If you recognize and fix this mistake, we're just going to have a shit spring batch every year. I feel like the Christmas league is gonna be the least, like it's gonna be the most risky, because if there's something fundamentally bad about the Christmas league, they can't do anything because there is nobody in the office. Don't tell us, show us. You can say that devs at POE have great balance of work-life, but we need to be shown it. Chris Post tells literally nothing about how they're fixing. Yeah. It's actually a good point. They really are. He's not really talking about how he's attempting to get this done. Sometimes it feels like people who complain forget that devs are people too. I mean, yeah, obviously, but at the same time, they are trying to sell us a product. Like, you don't wanna take. Obviously the game isn't shit, so me saying you don't want to pay for shit isn't exactly true, but ooh, there's a lot of quotes here. Let's see. -8. In order to do this, we have had our heads down, focus on this really just sounds like print excuse because you know the next league is going to was boring. I don't know about that. I wouldn't wanna shoot the league down yet. This is unnecessary. It doesn't make any sense. Definitely working on the conversion prep. Haven't done both. That's an idea. I mean, to some extent, probably, yeah. I actually I wanna. This guy is coming with the hot bullet, so I wanna see if he comments on. Simply put, we can't fix every problem in every league. There are going to be problems that we don't address quickly. We'll get to them soon as we can. This is I've lost faith in you and GGG. We don't want you to fix every design problem after a league's release. We want you to be fixing these problems before you release. Don't release broken products. Maybe it's time you get a 3-month head start on league so that you can have. Oh shit. That guy definitely needs a. This guy needs a break from POE. Did I miss something in chat? No, transport. He recently had to apologize. I read a lot of. We have way too much other work to do. Sounds like some of the China money needs to go into hiring more devs. Just throw people at problems, boys. That's nothing is gonna go wrong about that. They are hiring, yeah. They in the GGG they did mention that. Feels bad, man, for this, sir.
You know what's interesting though? I feel like the 3 point, just based on the fact that how he sets out the situation for the 4.0, it feels like the 3.7 is not gonna have that much time. But then again, if the league is gonna be simple, it doesn't necessarily need as much time as something like synthesis. Storing temples wouldn't be thematically right though. You already build another one at a time. Yeah, I mean, there are multiple different ways to do it. I like the idea of making master or like certain masters spawn more often would be interesting, like really nice. You know, like right now, like let's say like 20%. You could like rebalance it to be like 40-40, and then like whatever the, you know. In my mind, PoE being awful right now is good if the next league is awesome. Wonderful, simply wonderful. This explanation fully explains why synthesis isn't stated as is, and it's good that it will be out for some time. It sure needs some amount of attention. No. Words cannot describe how unbelievably happy this post makes me. I love PoE and the company with all my heart, and this post right here shows why GGG is the best company in gaming. The amount of popularity and stress they received over the last few patches of Diablo Mobile shit unimaginable, and Chris is still able to come out and publicly acknowledge they are not proud of the content they put out and are working on fixing it. Transparency between GGG and its community has been the number one thing I love most about PoE, and I'm almost in tears reading this because it's remained true since the day I started playing. Every time I buy a supporter pack or an MTX, I've never once regretted it, knowing that my money goes to a company I truly love outweighs every stupid financial decision anyone could say about spending money on a free game. Interesting to see a complete praise post to be a -1. This just shows that it's not all about praise in this thread. It's just crazy, like the difference here. Like you have people like this who's like he's he's probably all the way to the shoulders in Chris's ass with this post, and then there are people who, well, it's quite the opposite. Not Chris being in their ass, but just like completely hating on the game. Breaking news! GGG continued trend of being outstanding devs. I get that people get frustrated with bad mechanics or designs. Okay. We appreciate you. -2. Thanks so much for being involved in the community and listening to us. Shows. Keep up the great work. I don't think Chris really is involved with the community that much at all. These threads are not Chris being involved with the community. These are the let's try to keep the ship together threads, I feel like. Activision, Blizzard, EA, Epic. Take note, this is how you address a community. I mean, it would be nice to hear how they're planning to get the things working instead of just hearing that the things are bad and that they don't have time for all the projects that they have at hand. Chris and GGG have repeatedly earned our trust and respect. Do as you see fit. What an awesome company, man. A hot take. A company that doesn't need to come forward with posts like this is a better company. In my opinion.
Being in a situation where they don't need to do that is better. I will not run this company that way. Except that's exactly what you're doing by making poor management and planning decisions. You end up putting your entire team behind the 8 ball and you spend the rest of the cycle playing catch up. The player base keeps getting agitated with a poor product, and then you have to put in more man hours to fix problems you could have avoided if you had a better sense of what the fuck you're getting yourself into. You guys are still fixing up Syndicate, and you really thought this was something you were gonna be able to deliver on. This industry is wide. This is industry wide too. Look at Bungie, Destiny, or BioWare Anthem, games that are suffering because of incompetent management and planning. When the problem persists at the top, the grunts at the bottom are the ones who are gonna shoulder at all the shit. I mean, this post is kinda incorrect. Right, like, they are not spending, assuming that it's true that they are not spending like those ungodly amount of hours a day. That just means that things get behind. So, this is just kind of false. It's more like because he decides to not do that, but then he gets all the projects, you get into issues. The point of this post is to make people on the fence come to GGG's side. It has a purpose, it's not the one we want. Not pointless corrosive. This isn't a solutions-based apology, it's an apology with an excuse for bad decisions they've made. Yeah. A decent sum up. Maybe stop releasing leaks when you're not fully satisfied with and how no time to test it instead of releasing half-assed stuff and let the community complain for months and maybe fix it. Amazing response. Great transparency. As a dev myself, I love your decision to fight for your devs. Inspiring. As a console player, I'll stand by POE until I become a PC player where I will still support this game. You make me want to learn C++ and give game dev a shot just to work at this company. Feels like a long shot though. CEO of a company doing PR stuff, nothing more, nothing less. I mean, this is a PR post. It's just the way he talks in his PR posts makes the player base feel, most of the player base feel much better than the PR posts by Blizzard or other companies. This is why we can't have nice things. People bitch about it in Reddit and destroy the fun for the rest of us. I think Chris wanted to say, we are not ignoring you, we just have a lot on our plate, but it backfired. I mean, they don't ignore us. They don't ignore the community unless unless racing. At least like fast rate. But they don't ignore us. That's, yeah. I don't think anyone thinks that. Might be the best damn response I've seen from a gaming company ever. Completely transparent and on what is going on. I mean, you don't really know. Unless I feel like the only way for us to actually know if he's exactly like completely honest, especially in the crunch hour portion of that, is to have someone who is not working with the company anymore, and when they left, they parted in good ways. So there's no like bad, bad karma and shit like that going on between the person and the company actually telling what's going on. But I'm expecting that to never happen. I wouldn't touch the racing discussion if I were Chris. Chris shouldn't address the racing drama. The problem is what I think it is. There's nothing to fix it anyway, and we're on train. Yeah, I don't. I'm not. I'm not very positive about the future of that race stuff. Because if they can't handle this, like they can't handle the base game, they don't have time for the base game. How on earth should we ever expect them to have time for the racing stuff? Like, just not gonna happen. Even then, the person might have left before Tencent acquisition when things would have changed. That's also true. So it should be relevant, like relatively fresh blood that left the company, because like I don't know, maybe they weren't originally from New Zealand and they came there and then they learned and then they wanted to make their own company and went back somewhere else, and kind of those kind of people maybe. Then again, it would be interesting to see like what's actually going there. Few devs are thinking of us and care about us. GGG is far too concerned with always having people playing. Who cares about lack of player retention unless you're only worried about money? People going away is good for the health of the game. I feel like that too. I mean, and like he in the GDC he even said that it's good that people go and like come and go, because like the money that they get comes from the start of the league when people buy the packs. And as long as you as long as you give us good content, all the people will come back every time, pretty much. Like, yeah, you said it feels like they are trying to make people play from the start of the league to the end of the league without any breaks, and then just like play, right? Like look at D2, but every time it gets a new ladder, people go back. How old is that game again? And that's literally just no new content. That's just resetting the ladder. But lately, I haven't been buying packs because of the state of the league's component. Yeah, the league just, man, yeah. At least like the last 3 leagues, so almost a year have been. They release it and then they have to fix it for the next 2 or 3 weeks. That also means that time that they're trying fixing the league, they can't really work on the next leagues. For me, still best game. I mean, this is still hands down the best game, but that doesn't mean that we can't voice our issues with it. GGG is still the game. The game is still the best out there. The company is still most likely the best out there, but we're so invested in the game. Like we actually, the reason why we are like this is because we care, and because GGG has proven us what they can be and what they have been, and now that they are going away from that, we are getting extremely worried and concerned that something might happen to the company that takes away from the game being what it is, the game and the company being what it is. So he generally cares about this game. I mean, obviously, the game is his kid, but at the same time, it's also a business. Yeah, I care about my job. I need to get paid. Yeah, yeah. Like it should be given that they care about the game, because if the game fails, their livelihood is on stake. So obviously, by default, they have to care about it. I don't care about my job to get paid. Yeah, but that makes you care enough that you are getting paid. So this is the same situation. They have they care about being paid. They want to get paid if they don't do a good job, right? Reddit detectives assemble. It's gonna be Armageddon. Know why Chris has the respect of the community because of statements like this. Sure, we may be his customers, and he has a responsibility to us, but he's also the CEO of a major company and has a responsibility to all of those individuals on his team, and he will not let a bunch of people kicking dirt talking about will just stop buying MTX. The thing is, if we stop buying MTX, they will have to react. Oh my god, dude. They sacrifice quality for quantity. This should stop. Amen. In his Play Forever demonstration, so the GGG talk, Chris clearly showed he only cared about the influx of players when the new league comes and completely ignored the most important base players who play when there's no league. He's kinda takes that for granted, which is fucking shocking. I don't think they take the base players for granted. Obviously, if the base is shit, the people coming would eventually stop coming. So the base game also can't be complete shit. What do we assume then when they talk a lot with no plans on how to change? I'm not saying he doesn't care about the game. I'm saying his priorities on how to improve the game is entirely wrong. Like honestly, whether he cares about the game doesn't matter at all. Yeah, yeah, it's either good or bad. I feel like I feel like people should kind of stop considering Chris being their brother and how he feels about things, and care about the product that they put out, because it's a product. I wonder how many PS4 players are still playing after they hit endgame and 2 FPS. To us, Chris is another CEO that is trying to profit from a product. If you read this thread, that is definitely not to all of us. It's the same mistake some people make when it comes to streamers. Yeah. For some reason, people think they're friends with streamers. You guys are all my friends. I love you from the bottom of my heart. I mean, I'm not making a living out of this. I don't have to act. Please donate. Yeah, please Twitch Prime. I don't have to act. Man. I like somebody's using Reddit for the first time ever. With the quote start, quote end. If you guys don't know, you can just do like the arrow thing and it like makes the quote. So can we expect Dark Souls-like combo where player input matters instead of stack? 75% chance to dodge block to be safe, especially for melee. Yeah, I am extremely curious what this is gonna mean for the game. And the combat revamp has a lot of focus on improving the fundamentals of PoE's gameplay. Fundamentals, boys. I don't really have anything to say other than praise and take our collective money for you and all the wonderful people at GGG. You are contributing to the fucking problem. Sir, this is not helping. This is not helping. You're just enforcing your there's been quite a few people already in this thread that I've seen like this is like something like this is exactly why I keep giving okay, actually, yeah, not necessarily this, but there's been people like not necessarily this dude, but there's been people who like this is exactly the reason why I keep giving you packs every month and like every single league, because you're so open and yada yada yada, but not because the game is good, but because when they fuck up, they come up with these things, so they're just like you shouldn't give them money for from screwing up, in my opinion. Get a good product. That's it. In the past, we supported GGG because we believe in the company. Yeah, I think that those times are over. At this point, it comes down to is the game good or not. Yeah, in my opinion, the times of supporter packs are gone. GGG is incentivized to make apology posts and not make the game better posts like this. Yeah. Synthesis would have been worse. Does it hack matter at this point? Yeah, I feel like this shouldn't. This is full sympathy mode, I feel like. But this is stupid. Make the game good or not. This PR shit is stupid. Yeah, this isn't the first time either.
between the transparency and the commitment to not burn out your employees, I would really like to actually know what's going behind the scenes there. Like him saying about not having the crunch time. What if they're actually like he mentions the key people. He mentions like the 7 key people or whatever. I would really like to know if those guys are actually doing the fucking 9 to 5 as well. I can totally I totally most of the company will most likely have extreme like just totally healthy like hours. But I have a feeling that those key people that he seems to mention every time quite often are not on that healthy hours. I'm the game dev, to be honest. I think the game is bad right now, and I want you to fix it how they see it. How they fix it will be good or bad. Yeah. There's a lot of problems in the game, yeah. And yet it's still the best game out there. In this genre at least. This post almost brought a tear to my eyes. This is one of the reasons I love this company. Communicating with the player base and giving details about inner procedures. I mean, for all we know, he might be lying. I'm not saying he is, but god damn. I feel like people take everything Chris says at face value. Well, not everyone, of course, but a lot of people. Like, way too many people. What are the core issues at the moment, in your opinion? For me, probably the number one. Well, not necessarily the number one, but is quantity versus quality. Whenever we get something, it's done. Feels like it's done half-assed, and then we don't see any. We see some improvements to it, and then it just gets forgotten. They have so many things that they could make. Like think about Delve, for example. They could do so much with Delve. They can add rooms to it, whatever. But they don't keep adding to like mechanics on the game. They introduce new mechanics instead, because adding 5 Delve rooms doesn't sell. It's not a good ad. It's not something that fucking that gets crazy advertisements, right? So shifting the blame. I feel like to some extent it was when he said that we as a community make them feel like they should do those. But that's short-sighted. Oh yeah, they just add content into content into content. Are you going Epic Games Store exclusive? As a junior game dev, your paragraph on crunch almost made me cry. I really hope more studios will adopt your point of view in the future. It's sad I live on the other side of the planet. I would love to apply to work in POE. Anyways, always nice to see what you're working on, and good luck for the 3.7. This game has always been built from passion out to casuals and cost infectious. Like, how is getting a few new people more important than not having this quit mid-league? Basically telling everyone this game sucks right now. Yeah.
Uninstalled on PlayStation 4. No matchmaking. It's just a solo game. Who makes a multiplayer game without matchmaking? Wanted to love it, but don't like solo games. Maybe you could come into 2019 and add matchmaking. Okay, the chat is totally valid, but matchmaking. Wait, what do you want? Do you want like WoW Dungeon Finder, whatever thing? What the fuck? They do have to add easier way to getting the things. Yo, here, Camo. This is why I keep. This is why I've. This is why I keep buying support packs and such things. I love GGG and love POE. Thank you, GGG, for the transparency and the huge commitment you've shown over the years. This dude is contributing to the problem. Honestly, I'm excited about it, about 4.0. I'm not so excited about the things in between right now. TLDR, we are overextended and need to hire more people. On the other hand, TLDR, we are overextended and we should probably take off the foot from the gas pedal. People upset that a free-to-play game that is not only amazing but also updated regularly, plus the ease of communication with staff and devs. I think the word I'm looking for is entitled. I get the customer service side out of it. Wait, I get the customer service side of it. I understand the economic money, but wow, it's sad. Have you ever wanted to tell people to show it? Ei kurdaasti. Okay. Last epoch might have GGG Little Spook. Little competition is never a bad thing. That is correct. I want Last Epoch to fucking succeed. I freaking want good competition on the ARPG market. I actually want Blizzard to make it with Diablo 4. I actually want them to learn from their mistakes. I'm not expecting that to happen, but I want them to make a good game. Competitive game for PoE, so that PoE has to up it again and make the game better. I'm totally I'm not expecting that to ever happen, but I would absolutely love that. Competition is always best for the country. Pretty much, yeah. See, this is how you take it on the chin. Like a boss. I just put in it like this. Sometimes you have an off-the-wall idea and it doesn't work out. And that's okay. I mean, that's okay. Sometimes shit doesn't work. Gives a lot of people an extended opportunity to recharge the jets and get hype for the next league. Every direction. Okay, now it's just went into fan mode. Thank you for not contributing to the toxic environment of Game Crunch. Man, I really want GGG to get it back together and get on the right track. Just stop releasing shit with more bugs than Vista. Get ready for huge fucking influx of hackers. Hey, isn't Korean market like the Korean like the people player base, aren't they like huge on esports? Like one of the bigger esports. Isn't like esports like freaking national game for them? Like you know thing for them. Does that mean? Yo, fingers crossed, guys. Fingers crossed. Them going into Korean market. Let's just hope that sparks. Let's just hope it sparks. It sparks racing for POP. I don't think it's gonna happen, but maybe that's it. Sounds like you guys overburdened yourself. Thus, it's all your own fault, and you're trying to avoid the actual problems by diverting attention. A pretty shady business to honest, but I couldn't care less. It is very normal for a company to increase its business activities and their market, of course, in order to earn more money. However, it's not acceptable for the said company to also decrease their value of their product in the meanwhile. Naturally, such actions will have consequences. That hit the nail on the head. I mean, it's like Chris admits in this post that they kind of fucked up, but there's no mention of trying to like how like he's not making a convincing job at making me slash at least me believe that they are changing things around so this doesn't keep going like this. Trying to divert attention to some studios make their teams work 14-hour days is very shady. Yeah, guys, the reason why our product is going sideways right now is because we don't want to do what the other companies do. I don't think that's a good phrase to like good message to deliver. Maybe hire some more people instead of whining. Expect to earn much more money anyways with all these business expansions. Why not hire more people and divide the workload instead of hiding behind of questionable moral values and ready point? I feel like it went a bit from a good post into quite a bit of hate. I don't know. Sounds like you guys failed major with basic planning. Just sorry, this will not happen again and be done with it. Yeah, they really need to. I really hope that they get their stuff going. Not trying to be an asshole, but I don't see how this post is a cause for celebration. Yeah, me neither. Chris basically admitted GGG is overstretched, understaffed, and to produce maintains quality leaks at the moment, while trying to expand. Yep. Why will 3.7 be any different from 3.6? Half the team will still be working on 4.0, they still be prepping Exile code, they're still working on Korean release and the console versions. Yeah, hiring more people is dumb. Yeah, throwing people at the problem is not gonna work out. Especially like if it's gonna be like when they get new people, then the new people need to be bought into. And who's gonna do that work? Well, the guys who were supposed to be working on the game. I feel like they're trying to expand way too fast right now.
I think I'll wait at least 3.7 to hit servers to validate those words. Really hope we can get old GGG back on track. Yes, I really hope this happens. Imagine the game that we all love to go down because mismanagement on trying to expand the company and the game. Not because they can't make a good game, but because they're putting the resources out of that, and then the game just goes on. Excuses, blame not the schedule. Well, who said it? As an upcoming game programmer, I can respect your cultural tone. You all seem great, and your talk earlier last month was a great insight in your value. I mean, the GDC talk didn't really go into. The GDT talk wasn't really talking about making the game better or anything like that. It's just like what's how we keep making money. It's not. I don't think they need to slow down the cycle. Just don't go as big on your leagues. Maybe, I don't know. I think you can keep the cycle. Just don't overshoot like the content on your leagues. Because obviously, like if the biggest amount of money comes at the start of the leagues, if people play like a couple of weeks to a month or month and a half, you don't have to make so much content into that league that it takes people who play 6 hours a day take 2.5 months to complete everything in it. I feel like you don't need to do that. Obviously, you don't want all the guys who play a lot to play for a month and then be gone, obviously, either. Great PR post as usual. So you list 10 things you'd rather do with time now. Wait. You list 10 things you'd rather do with time now with great justifications, and then say, okay, I prioritize those over immediate fixes. Sure. How does it gel with your own EDT talks about against pipelining? Whatever the software or product delivery, A plus for PR and expending your own capital only when you need. As an aside, please suggesting trying another business model if you really want to survive 4.0 and beyond. I've been tired with inventory and micromanagement for years now, just so you can incentivize selling convenient stashes. I feel like it's really the time for them to bite the bullet and either give people another stash tab or allow people to convert one of the stash tabs after killing Act and Kitava to a premium. Later, Nari. You too. Do you think GGG should reward players who play more? Example, leveling multiple characters to level 95. I don't know. You had a third option. Don't change the Atlas map types until you have a solution for them first. Hmm. Oh, that's. I wonder why they have to actually change the. Yeah, I don't know. It's hard. It's hard to say anything about this when you don't know the ins and outs of the situation. I will not run this company that way. Instead, I'll get us into issues where we can't keep up with content while we are expanding our company. I don't think that's a good way to run the company either. Oh damn it! I'm about to go buy more MTX right now. Stop being such a good company, GGG. Oh fuck.
They're trying shitty ways to target player attention.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think we have been over through this shit for a while now. I guess the TLDR, TLDW, a lot of promises. I really hope they meet them, but I feel like this the fact that this post needed to be made in the beginning of it tells a lot of the issues this game has right now. There's a bunch of people praising this. There's a bunch of people criticizing and yada yada yada. But the fact that this post had to be made to begin with tells so much about all the issues the game has right now. And without obviously knowing everything around it, I feel like they should not slow down with the leaks. So just you can keep the four leaks a year, but just make the leaks smaller, so you don't have this massive amount of workload that you're behind all the time. And I feel like some of this post is just trying to make us feel bad for them. Not all of it, of course. He does admit some mistakes, but yeah. I really hope GDT gets back on the right track and catches up into all of the issues they have and make the game better. But as of right now, it's looking a bit dark. I'm so invested in this game, like not financially. I'm not making my living playing this game or anything like that. But I've been playing this game for like what 6.5 years or something like that. There's still, even with this, they still have the best ARPG out there. They still probably have the best communications. Even with this, I wouldn't say that this is just like good communication. This is shows a lot of issues. Oh, thanks for the sub, Omek. But yeah, I really hope that they really learn from this, and maybe they need to slow down with the expanding their company. That's right. It seems like it's taken off. They are neglecting the product in an attempt to get the product into bigger audience, and I think that's not the way to go. I really hope this gets sorted and the game gets back on right on track.